Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Maximum warp. Punch it. Punch it.
Punch it, Bishop!
Punch it. Punch that shit! Let's punch it.
Hello, everybody at home, and welcome. This is Punch It Writing in Star Trek. I am your co-host, Tristan Riddell, and with me, as always, is...
Charlene Schmidt.
Charlene Schmidt. We have a great show in store for the listeners today. Not only for the listeners, but also for each other, because I think this is going to be a wild, wild ride. And this is conjoining two things that I think that we love and a lot of people hate, and vice versa, honestly. I think this is going to be...
You're right.
Dare I say, a bastardization of two things that either you love and or hate. Because what we're doing today is we're doing a what if scenario. Like it's not necessarily a what if. Actually, no, I guess you could call it a what if, because what we're doing is we're taking the template that is Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Don't turn this off. Don't turn this off.
Don't turn it off. Directed by Billy Shatner, and
You call him Billy.
It is a what-if scenario of what if the Voyager cast
Did Star Trek V.
Did Star Trek V. What if the Voyager cast did Star Trek V? So,
like you said, some people hate Voyager, some people hate Star Trek V. Do two hates make a love?
This is something that I feel like this movie gets so much hate. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I think Voyager gets so much hate as well.
Exactly. Now, we love Voyager. Everybody who listens to the show ought to know that.
Yes, they should know that. Like, if this is your first time listening, we used to host a show devoted entirely to Star Trek Voyager, and we did almost 200 episodes of that.
4 years.
And for 4 years. And so we know Voyager inside and out. But we also know that it has its flaws, and its following is smaller than the other shows. Like, it's not as big as TNG or Deep Space Nine, but we love it. We appreciate it. And so there's some people who will tune into this podcast and go like, oh.
Right. But then meanwhile, we know that we've got a crowd saying, oh, yes, please bring it. And so this one is for you. Now, Star Trek V, it gets a lot of hate. A lot of it, I gotta say, is warranted. It's definitely a movie with some flaws. Does it deserve all the hate that it gets? Well, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. It's not my favorite Star Trek movie whatsoever. There's certainly some gems in it, though. I don't hate all of it. How about you?
I don't hate all of it either. Like, I used to watch this a lot growing up. Like, before the internet, I watched it and it was just like, oh, okay, like it's a Star Trek movie. I got to see Spock, I got to see Kirk, I got to see McCoy, like all of my favorite cast members. Like, I watched all of them when I was a kid, and this was just one in the set of 6 that I had available to me. And
yeah.
And so, but it wasn't until I went online where it's just like, oh my God, people hate this movie. Like, I didn't hate the movie. I was just kind of like, oh, that's probably the least good of the set.
I gotta, well, especially after you've had 2, 3, and 4, going off of that massive, wonderful trilogy that it is. Yeah, 5 was bound to be a letdown, but then all the production problems that they had, the fact that this is William Shatner directing, it is his very first outing as a director, correct?
I do believe so, yeah.
So you put that into the mix, and yeah, I mean, on a certain level, Star Trek V does have hot mess written all over it.
Oh, yeah, and for anybody who wants to know more about the behind the scenes, Shatner wrote a book about his time, not specifically with Star Trek: The Final Frontier. I can't remember which one it's in. I think it's called Star Trek Memories. I think that's the name of the book, Star Trek Memories.
Is it Star Trek Movie Memories?
Thank you. Yes, Star Trek Movie Memories. Yes, and that is a fascinating book to read, especially if you're a Star Trek fan, obviously. But it is so great from a filmmaking perspective, what actors go through, what writers and producers go through. It's just really great, filled with behind-the-scenes knowledge, and I love that stuff. And it's really sad because Shatner started out with the best intentions. Obviously, he loves the franchise, he loves Kirk, and he wanted to make a great Star Trek movie. And it was a comedy of errors of all the stuff that just stopped working and didn't work. And it's really sad when you hear it from his perspective about what he went through to get it made and then how it ultimately just fell flat.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anybody who aims to make a movie ever says, oh, you know what? If this one's a failure, so be it. No, everybody always aims to make a good movie. It's just that there's a lot of moving pieces that make these sorts of productions happen, and some are winners, some are not.
And for those of you who, if it's been a long time since you've seen Star Trek V, here is the description. When a renegade Vulcan captures the Federation, Klingon, and Romulan ambassadors on Nimbus 3, the planet of galactic peace, it can only mean one thing. The vacation is over. Captain James T. Kirk and the crew of the new Starship Enterprise A are pressed back into service to come to the rescue. But when the Vulcan has a prior association with Spock, it allows him to seize control of the Enterprise and put it on course for the center of the galaxy, where he and his followers believe they find the place from which creation sprung.
That makes this movie sound really freaking good.
It's amazing what you can do with the description. And here's the thing, like, there's some great things about it. I mean, I really like Cybok. I like his ability to process and analyze pain and deal with emotion. I feel like that aspect of the movie is really great. I really love the friend scenes, like the campfire scenes, and people all together. I hate how the Enterprise was falling apart, even though it's brand new. I was just like, really? You're going to do this? This is not funny. And I'm one of those people who was just like, we had to make it God. Like, you had to go and find God.
Of course. Cybok couldn't just be this wayward cult leader.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it aimed really high and fell short. It really did.
And at least it does that. You know, like, at least it tried to do something crazy. At least it tried to say something and do something, and it missed the mark. But
right.
I always give movies credit that try to do something, but it doesn't mean that I excuse it, but I'll give it credit.
Right. I mean, really, at the heart of it, it's trying to go for a very Star Trek message. Where, I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest issues of people's lives. God, what is it? Is God real? Do you believe in God? And if so, which God? You know, and I think you sum it up in one line in Star Trek V, where Shatner says, maybe God, and he gestures to his heart, is right here.
Yeah, the human heart.
Right. So, Star Trek message, definitely in there. Can't fault it for that.
So, with all that in mind...
Yes.
Let's go ahead and start with Voyager. So, I feel like we have to do it as if they're in the Delta Quadrant, right? Because
I think we kind of have to. So, my first question to you is, do we want to break this down scene by scene, starting chronologically, or do we want to go for the bigger points and then work down the details from there?
I think let's go bigger. Let's talk about concept. Let's talk about,
Okay.
I think we could go scene by scene, but really I think that let's find the biggest beats and figure out how we would Voyagerize them.
Okay, so then we just need to keep talking about God. And actually, I kind of want to maybe tone this down a little bit to where whoever the Cybok character is maybe is what I just said a moment ago, like a wayward cult leader, but has such a following, and maybe a couple Voyager crew members kind of get caught up into it.
I like that idea of like where people on Voyager are just like, no, this guy's making a lot of sense. Because
right, like, this guy's for real. He relieved my pain.
Yeah, absolutely. That is 100% the danger of cult leaders like that, is that they're usually charismatic. They make a lot of sense. And like when you're right in front of them, like they can really turn your thoughts on its head and really kind of confuse you. Because like when you look at it objectively and when you're removed from the situation, like when you're watching a documentary or something, you're like, how do these jerks ever fall for this? But when you're in the presence of someone who is truly charismatic, it can be very sweeping and frightening at the same time.
Yes. Successful cult leaders program their followers into such an eventually isolated way of thinking that that's how they control them.
So
thinking about this, the first thing that sticks out in my mind with the Voyager crew is you already have at least in this aspect, a vulnerable population, which is going to make them prone possibly to a cult leader, and that is the insecurity of whether or not they're ever going to get home and see their loved ones.
So when do we make this while they're in the Delta Quadrant? So basically, this is always the question when we deal with Voyager is, do we do it with Kes or do we do it with Seven?
Very good question. Which era do we want to go for?
I feel like Kes would be more interesting because she would have much more of an emotional reaction to what's going on, and Seven would have much more of an analytical way of thinking about it. Like, I don't feel like she would be swayed by this leader whatsoever, but Kes would have the potential of being swayed.
Right. I kind of like that angle where what if Kes is one of the first people persuaded into this person's way of thinking, and maybe that puts Neelix on some edge, like where maybe we're going to go real early where they're still together, but then he gets swept up in it too.
I like the idea of going early because the idea is still really fresh in their minds of when are we going to get home? And maybe this guy is able to do something about that. Like, actually, okay, let's back up a little bit. Let's back up a little bit about it.
Okay.
Let's go back to the major beats here. So the individual. So let's focus on the individual. What is this person? Who is this person? And what does he want to do? Like in the original film, he's the half brother of Spock, and he wants to find God, and he needs a starship, and his shtick is getting people to confront their pain and have a catharsis to release it. That's a lot to unpack right there.
Yes.
So, do we keep an individual who, like, I think we need to keep an individual who needs to commandeer Voyager. I think that's his thing, is that, like, I need Voyager for X reason, and I have a talent that allows me to do Y. So, I think that's what we need to break it down. What is he trying to accomplish, and how does he accomplish it?
Good question. Do we also need to determine maybe who this person is? Let's not make him Tuvok's half-brother.
I think we can go away from the Vulcan thing, but...
You know, if we want to have a family connection, what if this is a distant ancestor of Neelix? Not an ancestor, but a distant relative. Or, I mean, maybe that's a complete farce.
I don't know if I want to go the Neelix angle. I'd rather...
Okay. You don't want to bastardize Neelix like that?
I don't. I kind of want to leave... I want to leave Neelix alone in this one.
Okay, that's fair.
And you know I like Neelix, but
yes.
I feel like it would be a little weird because it would be... Then all of a sudden it's heavily focused on Neelix, and I don't think it needs to be. Maybe it's not a family connection. What if it's someone that they... What if it's their first passenger post Neelix and Kes, where they pick somebody up and he's actually with them for a little bit of time?
Okay. Maybe with the promise that he knows some things about, like, oh, I don't know, there's a wormhole here and I can take you to it, or something where he is helping Voyager on its mission home, tapping into that. Does that make any kind of...
Well, I was mainly thinking like he's... Like all the time in Voyager, one thing that they always do is just like they start the episode and they're just like, oh well, we've picked up Arturus, and we're helping him to his destination, and he can help us along with this. Like I felt like, what if it's something basic like that where,
okay,
like
he's just hitching a ride.
He's hitching a ride. He's on the ship, and like he's along the way. He's just like, oh, I just need to get to. I'm totally on your course. Can you take me here? And it's what if the where he wants to go is, we don't know this right away, but like it's kind of like the galactic barrier where no one's been able to cross it. It's kind of weird, and like they know that he wants to go there, but they're just like okay, well, like here you go, like we'll drop you off at the nearest outpost and we'll be on our way. And unbeknownst to them, he has secret plans to commandeer Voyager because he thinks that Voyager is the only ship with its Starfleet technology that can get through the barrier.
Right. Maybe Voyager is his only hope to actually make this happen. So he seizes the opportunity. Love it. That's great.
And so like maybe it's a long voyage. It's going to take like 2 weeks or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And so he has a longer amount of time to work on the crew than Cybok did. So he doesn't have to be as aggressive as Cybok. I think he can be a little bit more subtle.
Yes, which is great for an audience perspective where maybe this seems like a really friendly and nice guy. And hey, it's too bad you can't be a part of the crew permanently. And then we'd totally turn and make him an evil, oh my God, get this guy off the ship right now.
Now, are we deviating too much from...
I don't think so.
From the plot? Because
No.
I'm like, do we need the campfire scene? Do we need the Nimbus 3 scene? You know, like that kind of thing. Because Nimbus 3 is a big portion of the movie.
You're right. And that's kind of where I've got a bit of a roadblock. Like, what would be the Delta Quadrant? What have you got? You've got an idea.
I'm trying to think, like, what if that's how the movie starts? It's just straight up. It's not like, oh, like we don't have to do the idea where they need to gather everybody, where like nobody's on vacation because it's Voyager, but like there's someone who's calling for help. Like there's a distress call on a planet, and Voyager's like, well, I mean, let's go check it out, and it's Nimbus 3. You know, but in the Delta Quadrant, whatever.
Delta Nimbus 3.
Yeah, Delta Nimbus 3. And there are people on this planet who are being held hostage by an individual, and it's and so like they're saying like there's this person's a madman, like he's captured us and he's trying to he's trying to do X, Y, and Z. So they go, and they're just like, well, we have to help them. And like people are just like, well, it's not our deal. Like, what about the Prime Directive? And they're just like, it's fine. They have warp capability, and they're like, oh well, this is one of the few planets in this sector that actually has warp capability. So that's great that we can actually intervene and help because of the Prime Directive, and that's the reason why our individual is there, because it's one of the few warp capable civilizations in the sector. And unbeknownst to them, they do the rescue, and it's crazy. It's great. Maybe somebody does a little fan dance like Uhura. And
I'm trying to imagine who that might be.
Neelix.
You had to put that imagery in everybody's head. You're welcome.
They do the rescue, and it goes differently than in the movie. Like, their rescue, they succeed. They win, but they think that the individual who took them hostage, because they never saw his face, is dead. They think that he died in the raid.
Okay, made it look that way.
But in actuality, our individual, let's just call him Cybok. Our Cybok like pretends to be a traveler and like actually connects with Janeway.
Oh man, what a sociopath!
And says like, hey, like I've. Like my ship has been destroyed because of this guy. I have no way to get off this planet. I'm just a traveler. Where are you going? Are you going anywhere near this? And Janeway's like, yeah, absolutely. Actually, we are. This is totally not off our path. We can take you. Like maybe he's kind in some way. He helps them in some way. Sure. And so Janeway's a little bit more lenient to say like, yeah, we can give you passage. We're not a passenger ship, but we can give you passage.
And the fact that he's so personable makes this seem easy peasy.
Yeah.
They're not even going out of their way to help him. It's just along the way. Why not just drop him off?
Exactly. And so the audience doesn't know that Cybok was the crazy person who held up Nimbus 3.
Yeah.
I think that's like, so that way it'll be a surprise later on instead of just like, oh, this guy's no good.
Now, how are we going to find out about that down the road, do you think?
I think when he actually takes over Voyager. I think that's when Janeway, Chakotay, and a third person that we haven't figured out yet, because we need the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy dynamic.
We want that tree. Well, that's one of the brighter spots of Star Trek V, and I would hate to lose that. So what if it's Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok?
I think that's good. That's great. That's great. So Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok. So they're the ones who like they're starting to see, like Cybok's interacting with the crew. Everybody loves him. But there's a few people who are acting kind of weird and kind of suspicious, because as they get closer, people are acting weirder and weirder. And we, the audience is starting to see that more and more, but it's still kind of a mystery to Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok. And,
right. Okay.
And so I think we could keep the whole pain thing, like show me your pain. I really want to keep that because I love that. And we know so much about the Voyager crew that we know about Neelix's pain with his homeworld and the war, and we know about Chakotay and B'Elanna's pain because of the Maquis,
Right.
and
Kes.
Kes and like Tom's pain with his father.
Sure. Kes losing her father was the first thing that came to my mind for that, which would, I think,
Absolutely.
easily get her tapped in. And yeah, maybe he's just got these massive crowds gathering, like, say, in the mess hall. And they just keep getting bigger and bigger, and people are just listening and getting sucked in. And that's what's got Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok suspicious. Like, okay, this guy has a lot of charisma. Is this really okay, though? Because they have that weird feeling.
Like, yeah, I love that idea where like he's in the mess hall and he's just kind of like talking with one person, and then at the end of lunch, there's like 10 people there who are just listening to him talk, and he's cracking jokes. He's, you know, like everybody loves him. He's just like, oh, Cybok's great. And then a couple of times go by, and all of a sudden he's hosting like symposiums in the mess hall, where like people go to sit and listen to him speak.
Yeah, and maybe people are even skipping duty shifts, not even realizing how much time has gone by, and maybe that's the catalyst to really arouse some suspicion. Like, okay, wow, this dude has a major hold on people.
And Tuvok and Chakotay are the ones that bring it to Janeway's attention, because Tuvok
Yeah.
and Chakotay would not abide duty shifts and everything, like being missed and everything like that. And so,
Right.
and so they, this might be a little weird, but like, what if there's a way to get one-on-one time with Cybok, and like, where he's like, maybe he
With
says
whom?
he's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the crew can have one-on-one time. Like they go and see him speak, but he also will meet with you individually, because maybe he sells himself as kind of a therapist, where
Oh, sure. Yeah.
he's like, you know, like, you guys are lost, you guys are on your own, you know, you have no one to talk to, and like, you can come and talk to me, and like maybe that was a plus point, you know, at the beginning, because Janeway has said like they wish that they had a counselor for this trip.
Right.
Because like these people are dealing with abandonment, with a survivor's guilt, with, you know, so many different things. And what if Cybok is just like, I can totally help, let me help. And he does help at the beginning, but then it starts getting crazier and crazier, like you said.
Totally.
And so everyone who has one-on-one time with him, like, walk out lighter and just like, oh my God, I feel so great. And you need to go see Cybok. Like, all he does is talk with you, and you feel 100 pounds lighter, you know, like something like that.
Yeah, like, this guy is for real. You've got to try this. That one-on-one session has changed my life. The cult begins.
Right.
Oh,
And-
man. Yeah, okay. Now, do we have a moment with our top three where, like, with McCoy, his moment was dealing with his father's death. Do we have a Janeway moment, or a Chakotay moment, or a Tuvok moment? And if so, which one?
I feel like I immediately want to do Janeway's moment, because we know about her backstory because of the Jerry Taylor written novel
You're
Mosaic.
thinking what I'm thinking. Oh my God.
But even like, because for those of you who haven't read the novel, there's a moment where her father and her fiance dies.
Yes.
And I'm sorry that I just spoiled it for you, but the novel is very old.
It's 20-something years old. If you've not read it by now, shame on you.
Sorry, guys.
Here's the thing. I love the idea of tapping into her, because she's got such guilt behind her, but she has to have the Shatner, I need my pain line.
100%. That is exactly where I was going, is that like she has great pain to go to, just like Shatner did with his son dying.
Right.
Like, that's immediately what you want to go towards and see. But so I feel like we have to go with Chakotay and his relationship with his father and his homeworld, or maybe the knowledge that you know, like maybe like we have a moment where like he's holding a brother in arms and with Maquis, or something, like a Maquis raid goes wrong and that just a lot of people died, something that no one has ever known about. Like maybe Janeway didn't even know about it, where she's like, you never told me that. He's like, I've never told anybody.
Ooh. But then you know what I want to see is Janeway kind of like shaking Chakotay after that experience and saying, "Come back to your senses, man. I need
Yeah.
you with this."
Now, what do we do with Tuvok? Because Spock and McCoy both had a moment.
Right. I kind of feel like Tuvok, meanwhile, is tapping somehow into Cybok's mind, and maybe he uncovers the fact that he was the guy holding the hostage situation.
I like that idea. I like that idea where he kind of pushes it back to him. Where like maybe Cybok didn't know that Vulcans were telepathic.
Yeah. I like that so much. And then the truth will come out, and then the
Yeah.
jig is up. And suddenly, though, Cybok is a threat, and they've put them in this weird place. And what are we going to do with this guy now?
Well, actually, if we follow the plot a little bit closer, I think this is when they already know that Cybok is a threat, because Cybok has taken over the ship by the time they have the "I need my pain" moment.
This is true. He's got such a following amongst the members of the crew.
So I think it's Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok like running around trying to take the ship back, and then they get cornered in that office, and then Cybok is just like, "Come on, guys! Like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
let me
Let's
do my thing."
talk.
But they still don't know that he was the one who caused all that damage on Nimbus 3. But like your idea of having Tuvok kind of throw it back at him, throw his mental capacity back at him, that's when they discover like, oh my God, you were lying to us this entire time. We're such fools.
And here's what's really happening. Yes, and I love the idea of Tuvok kind of working behind the scenes, incognito, just a little bit, not really showing his hand, because that's a very Tuvok thing to do. And I love it when Tuvok plays investigator.
Yes. And so they get thrown into the brig, and I think B'Elanna breaks them out, just like Scotty did.
Does she do SOS?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah,
Like
or
the
like she
Morse
does the whole. Oh, it's something that we did in the Maquis days. You know, like that's
Of
how we
course
spoke
it
to each
was.
other. Yeah.
But I dig it. Yeah, Chakotay's going to get tapped into that.
So do we have some anger between Chakotay and Janeway, like we did with Kirk and Spock?
There probably should be some friction, maybe.
So what would Janeway be mad about? Because like there was a moment in Star Trek V where Spock refuses to kill Cybok.
Yeah.
And is there a moment where we kind of do that, where Chakotay had the opportunity to do something and he chose not to?
Possible.
Or is she just angry because he never told her about that certain thing that happened in his past? That seems a little petty.
Well, especially for early Janeway and Chakotay.
Yeah.
If it were maybe like post-resolutions or something like that, where they spent all that time on that planet and he never brought this up, really, I could understand that maybe. But nah, that seems unlikely here.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's gotta be
maybe
something.
do they have to be at odds with one another?
I guess they don't. They don't have to be. I did like the friction, but I guess it started and ended pretty quickly in the movie.
I kind of wonder if that's necessary here. It doesn't really seem to fit.
I don't think so. Not with our story. So I think the three of them. Maybe we can have a different dramatic moment where Tuvok is trying to find a way out, and Chakotay and Janeway are kind of talking to each other, and Chakotay is just like, he's like, I've never been able to let that go. I feel so different. And Janeway's just like, are you with me, Chakotay? Like, why didn't you tell me what's going on? So like that, we have that kind of drama instead of anger.
I like that so much because she's his anchor now. She's bringing him back and trying to figure out, is he a lost cause or is he with her?
Is he a zealot or is he with her? And of course,
Yeah.
Chakotay's like, no, I'm here. I'm with you.
Right. But I like having that heart-to-heart moment.
Yeah,
Between
that's
the
what
two.
that's what we do in the brig instead of the anger.
That's
the anger
fantastic.
moment.
Great.
And
Okay.
so B'Elanna breaks him out, and so they're on their way to the Great Barrier. And
right, whatever the equivalent is.
So what is he trying to find? God? What is he trying to find? Something else? Is he trying to find
Yeah.
something more tangible?
That's a good question. I mean, do we want to go there with the whole God angle?
I don't know. It's so
Right? I'm really torn on it. Just because of the way the movie actually went, it kind of makes me want to shy away from that. But then what is the alternative? What is a good alternative?
I wonder if we make it a situation of, I'm spitballing here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some free association. So
Do it.
Not free association. Stream of consciousness. So maybe there's something to do, like maybe he's trying to save someone. Like maybe he is, like, beyond the Great Barrier is a civilization, and they're holding some of his people hostage, and like he didn't think anybody would believe him that that's what he needed to do. Like he's trying to free a section of people or a segment of people. And like once they get beyond the Great Barrier, Jane was like, why didn't you just tell us? Why didn't you say something? We could have helped you. We could have figured out a way. You didn't have to take over my ship and brainwash my crew. Something like that. Like, this is just an idea. Do you have something better? Like, is this making you think at all?
I mean,
maybe
we
it's
already
a
did the
technology
hostage thing earlier. So I'm kind of
That's
feeling
true.
like that's a repeat of what we've already seen. That's going to get boring, and people are going to say,
That's
why?
That's kind of a hat on a hat, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know what I do like about that is the whole, why did you just tell us the truth?
Mhm.
Like, maybe it really is as simple as this is his home. Maybe he's a being, like, it's maybe with Voyager's technology being able to surpass the barrier. Most other ships can't. Maybe it just kills people on sight. But for whatever reason, this civilization thrives in this environment, whatever it is. And I don't know, he needed to make it bigger than it was because maybe he's tried this before and it ended up killing people.
What if...
I don't know.
this
I don't
might
know.
be
I'm stuck, man.
I know this. I'm stuck too. Like, this is what happens when you do it on the fly. Is that, like,
That's
sometimes you
right.
hit some snags. With this one, what if he?
Yeah.
What if he's someone like Q, where
Ooh.
he was trapped, and it could. Hey, maybe it is Q. Like, maybe he is a Q, and he's trapped in a mortal body, and so his powers are extremely limited to only into the personal, and. Like, in order, like, that's to get them into the continuum. Or maybe we remove the whole Q thing, but he's an advanced being that is trapped in a mortal body.
I don't want to go with the Q angle. I think
That's cool.
way too dangerous.
Totally cool. Totally cool.
I have another idea. Let me know what you think of this. And shoot me down if you hate it. What if he really does think that his god is on this planet because it's so insurmountable for most forms of technology to get past it? He wants to go meet his god. And then he's going to be so seriously let down, just like Cybok.
I think I think we kind of need to go in that realm. I think because we're having such a hard time thinking of something else.
I mean,
I think
yeah.
what if he said, like, what if he did his research where I mean, like, he did his research, and when they get to the beyond the Great Barrier, he says, they ask him, why is he so he's like, fine, we're here, like, why did you bring us here? And he's like, I want to find God, and but he calls him by a different name. Like, he says, he's like, I want to find something or other. And they're like, what's something or other? And he's like, well, Neelix, your people called it this. You called it A. Kess, your people called it the caretaker. You're like a Chakotay, your people called it something there. Like in Tuvok's just like, your ancients used to call it this. And Janeway, your ancestors not that long ago called it God, like, or Jehovah or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's when Jane was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, she just loses it.
I
She's
would
just
love
like,
to see that face. What if, I mean, maybe this is too much. Maybe we don't even need this. What if this god, he gives a false promise to the Voyager crew that this god can get them home?
I like that idea. Like, she needs a reason where, like, I don't think intellectual curiosity, like, for Kirk, it was, hey, we're beyond the Great Barrier. I want to see what's out there. Janeway, I don't think would care. She's just like, you lied to me. I need to get my crew home. Of course, God is not there. But he says, he's like, maybe God would be able to take you home. And then Tuvok kind of leans over to Janeway and says, like, okay, like, it's not God, obviously. But what if there is some advanced being or advanced civilization there that has technology better than our own?
Exactly. Plus, then if the crew is so dead set on this false promise, it's like, well, what do we have to lose at this point? Because, I mean, if we don't get home, we're not getting home either way, whether we turn back or if this doesn't, if it falls through.
Yeah.
So why don't we just try and see what happens? And So they go down and they check it out.
And I think it goes the same kind of way. Like you have Janeway, you have Chakotay, you have Tuvok, and you have Cybok, and everybody's watching, and everybody's on the bridge, and they go and they take a shuttle, and maybe like Chakotay is a little bit more swayed because he kind of wants to believe in a higher power, but maybe not necessarily in the way that most people do, like with like a man sitting on a throne in the sky. But he's like he wants to believe in he believes in something greater than himself. So he's a little bit easier to say like maybe this is something, like maybe like this is maybe there's something to it. I mean, like myth all have roots in some sort of truth, and so he kind of plays the McCoy character.
Yeah. Chakotay's going to come at this from an emotional perspective. Tuvok's going to come from the logical, practical perspective. But they're both going to corner Janeway into doing this.
Right. Chakotay wants to know what's out there because it could be fantastical. Tuvok wants to know what's out there because of the technological aspects of it. Like maybe they can send us home. It's not God, but maybe it's that. And Janeway's just like, fine, I'm overruled by my first officer and my security officer.
I mean, their primary mission is to get themselves home.
Right.
If there's a possibility that whoever's down there can help them with that, they've got to try.
And Janeway is the one who says, like, what does God need with a starship?
So it's going to end up much the same way, right? Where this is not a godlike being. This godlike being, whatever it is, wants the starship to get the heck off of its planet. Mm-hmm. And then firefight ensues. Now, one big thing, there are no Klingons to come to the aid.
I think it would just be Tom in a shuttle that comes.
A la basics. I like it.
Yeah, something like that. Just to simplify it, just to not add any more complications to it. But I think Cybok dies. I think it kind of goes that same way where he's like, show me your pain. He's like, like he realizes that he's been duped. He realizes that that this is not his God or anybody else's God. Yeah. This is just an advanced being who was marooned. And then it becomes clear that Tuvok's just like, this jerk off's not going to help us. So he might use different language. I don't know.
Not necessarily.
And then Chakotay is disappointed, but immediately when he hurts Janeway, that's when he loses it.
Yeah. Oh, so then when all is said and done and they're all back on the ship, we've got to have that cathartic moment about what they've been through. The three of them.
Yes, the three of them and everybody else. Like everybody gets together. Like maybe Neelix is just like, listen, we need to let's not forget what happened, but let's just remember that we're all family and that we're all in this together.
Big party in the mess hall. Lots of food, lots of drinks.
Yeah. And Chakotay kind of has that moment of, what if nothing exists? What if nothing is beyond this?
Yeah.
And Janeway's like, I've had too many experiences to completely say that nothing is beyond our understanding. We may not, we may not get it. It may not be in a traditional sense of any kind of God that we know of, but there has to be something more. And, I don't think she would say like God exists in the human heart. I just don't think that's very Janeway.
You don't think so? Because she believes in herself.
She does believe in herself, but believing that a higher power exists within yourself is different. And
yes, this is true. Yeah. Come to think of it, I like the way you're putting it, where she knows that there is stuff out in the universe that's greater than the sum of their parts.
Right. I think that's all that we're going to get out of Janeway, where Janeway is wise enough to understand that she doesn't know everything, and that and she doesn't know what she doesn't know. And I think that's really all that she's saying. She's being motivational without actually saying
good.
Anything.
That's really good. And maybe Chakotay is a little surprised by that revelation, thinking she would just be, oh, no, there is no God. I believe in science. That's it. That's all. I need to have actual proof of what's out there. So then maybe they kind of have their little, like, that's another little bookend moment of, oh, I learned something new about you.
Yeah, yes. And Tuvok kind of remains unfazed. He's just like,
there's just some, I'm envisioning a semi-flirtatious line, well, there's a lot you don't know about me, Chakotay. And she walks off. And then Tuvok raises his eyebrow, and that's the end of the scene.
So, yeah, I think this could easily be an episode, I think.
You think you could condense it down to an episode? Like, I feel it would move really fast, sort of like how we had 2 weeks with Tuvix. But maybe we could still get to the heart of the issue. Maybe it would be a good 2-parter. I don't know.
I think we could get it down to 1, but if not a 2-parter, I think this could be I think this would be good.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a feature-length movie, though. And,
because,
what's interesting is I like what we've done here, but it removes the one thing that I love the absolute most about Star Trek V, and that's the campfire scenes.
It's true. It's true that like both of us said that those were our favorite things, and we removed it because it just doesn't fit in Voyager. And sometimes you got to kill your darlings. And,
Indeed.
And that's what it was. Because the reason why I feel like we could do it in 1 episode is because like we cut down the importance of Nimbus 3 a great deal. Yes. We cut out the Klingons. We cut out the Enterprise doesn't work nonsense.
Right.
And so like they could be like the episode starts bloop bloop bloop, like, hey, there's a distress call, let's go check it out. They're there, violence ensues. Sybok's like, can I get a ride? They say yes. They're out of Nimbus 3, and then we have that whole 2-week Tuvix thing.
Right.
And then the Great Barrier is the last act.
You could even condense that down to like a little bit of a montage.
Absolutely.
Watching his sermon groups growing in numbers, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the heart of the action where things are going down. Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, the more you point it out, the more we could do this in 1 episode, and that's fine. Now, hypothetically, before we end the show, I want to know, would we have Janeway, Chakotay, and Tuvok actually going camping together? Like, would Chakotay actually convince her to go camping before Resolutions? No. Is she getting dragged? Or is it going to be a brocation where it's like Harry, Chakotay, and Neelix or something?
I don't think there's any room for it. I don't think any of it would happen.
I'm not saying put it in. I'm just saying hypothetically, who would you put on there if we had that scene?
I think it would be a little bit of a boys' club. Kind of like when they got captured by the Kid Borgs and they were playing poker. So it was Chakotay, Paris, Tuvok. Was it Tuvok? It was Chakotay, Paris, and Neelix and Kim. That's who it was. Chakotay, Paris, Neelix, and Kim. I think it would be the 4 of them on vacation together. And Neelix kind of wormed his way into it.
Because he'll cook the food. That's the only reason why they let him go.
There you go. Yeah, I think the 4 of them would be on vacation.
I love it. That scene immediately came to mind when I said the word brocation. It's like, okay, it's them. It's definitely them. Janeway's not going camping. Screw that.
No. Tuvok's not going to go.
Nah.
Kes isn't going to go.
They all got better taste than
I think B'Elanna has better things to do. Yeah, so I don't think...
Although, I could see B'Elanna going out hunting and bringing back some dead animal for them to cook over the fire. And everybody's like, nah, pass. We're good.
I think that's too Klingon for B'Elanna.
It kind of is. And yet she does have that side, so I'm just saying.
Yes, that side.
If you're in nature, you tap into that sort of thing.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that you enjoyed our final frontier of Star Trek Voyager. And if you like what we had to say, please let us know by going to thenerdparty.com/contact. Select Punch It from the drop-down menu. Fill out the form. It'll send us an email. You can also find us all over the place on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find us personally on Twitter. You can find me at The Insane Robin.
And you can find me at Oh the Profanity.
And if you do have the time, please leave us a review. If you write us a review on Apple Podcasts, if it's 5 stars, we will mention you on the show. You can leave us any kind of review you want, but 5 stars gets you a mention. Now, Shar, next week is going to be a blast. I don't even know what we're talking about yet, but it's going to be a blast because we're going to continue to punch it.
Ready for warp, sir. Let's punch it.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.